All right, we are going to start with a flower in the forefront. And I'm going to use some brown that I've got here. And I'm just going to do kind of a half circle in the center here. Not really the center, it will be the center of the flower. All right, rinse in my brush. I'm going to grab my yellow. Okay, for the petals, I am going to take my brush and I'm just going to press down and drag, which I didn't have enough paint on there. Hold please. I need to mix more paint here. Should we try again? It happens, you know, it happens. Pull that down and then I'm going to lift it up. Okay? I might have wanted that a little bit bigger. I actually do, so I'm going to just use the tip of my brush and I'm going to shape it like that because oftentimes, you know, petals are not completely, what do you call it, pointy at the end. So let's just give it a little bit of a rough look at the end there. And we'll come in with this one and we'll do the same. And also on the other side, adding more paint as I go. Okay. These are fun exercises to do too. If you're like, I am not ready to do a flower yet, just get a piece of paper and try these exercises where you're just pushing, you're just holding it up here, pushing down, and then pulling, and then lifting up. That one I didn't have very much paint on my brush either, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to do this as well. You know, it's not as easy to do a video and paint as you might think. Because I'm thinking about a million different things, like the angle, is my hand in the way, blah, 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 blah. All right, this one's going to go out like that. And then maybe just a couple little bumps on that side. So I'm working a little bit quickly if I can. And I'm going to get some red on my brush. I'm using what's called Matter Red in my All Ribbons, and I'm going to just tap the tips of the petals near the center. And we're just going to let that, we're going to let it blend, but also I'm going to pull some of it down because I want an orangish hue to these petals. At least some of them. I want a red, orange, yellow, kind of blending like that. All right. And we're going to let that do its thing here. Let that dry, let it blend some more. And you'll see, I love how they dry. Because right now I like how it looks too. Although, you know what? Before I do something, I'm going to add some like petal indications in the center here as well. And maybe just a teensy weensy bit of red. And there we go. I don't like that much white space in there. We just tweak. We just tweak as we go. That kind of gives an indication of petals behind, maybe. Okay, now back to the brown, because we're going to start our next flower, which we'll do maybe just up over here. Okay, just going to do a little side flower here. And I'm going to get my yellow, and this time I want my brown to kind of blend in with the yellow as well. So we're going to start with the side short guy over here, shorter guy. We're just letting the brown come right into it. You don't have to. If you don't like that, you don't do that. And then, but I just like all the colors kind of blending together. And I can show you what to do too if you're like, that's too much brown, then just clean off your brush and then dab it on your paper towel. And then you can come in and just lift it up. Ooh, my Amazon order just got here. The side of the Amazon truck says everything in the kitchen sink delivered. Now I'm just tapping some more yellow in there. Sorry, I got distractions, people. I have got distractions. Okay, back in the yellow. And we're going to bring it down like this. Okay, one more time. Actually, more than one more time, but we're going to do this guy over here. And a couple here. There we go. Love it. And now we're going to grab some red again. You can see this is a repetitive situation. Okay. Pull some of that down. You can pull some of the brown down too. There we go. And you can see how this one is already turning a little more orange. Remember how it was yellow like this before too? And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on my brush to mix it in with this one. Might have had a little bit too much water, so we might see some, what do you call it? Like some blooms, cauliflowers, I should say, because we're talking about flowers, so that might be confusing. But you know how it leaves like the watermark? But I'll show you how we work with that if that happens. Okay, back into the brown. Let's do one more flower. Let's put that one a little bit higher up here. Okay, facing that way. I bet you can guess what I'm doing next. Let brown come right on in there. Loving it. I hope you find this simple to do. It's not always easy, but it is pretty simple, especially if you're brand new and haven't practiced these strokes. I would say start with that. Start on a either fresh sheet of paper or a scrap piece of paper, and just have fun pressing down the brush, releasing, doing all that good stuff. And I'm going to just put some lines in here, just filling in some spots. Now coming back in with the red. And tapping, 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 tapping. And let's move some of that down. And you can see now, remember how bright yellow it was? And now it's turning orangish as it dries. And because once we're done, like if I'm like, okay, I'm done blending that red, but the red is not done working with the yellow. So it's going to keep doing its thing. I'm going to try to pull some of that down in here. And I'm going to get a little bit more yellow and tap it into here. Goodness. I actually had water on there instead of yellow. So that could be another situation where it doesn't, where it leaves a watermark. But you know what? If you're new here, you just have to know that I like to leave my maybe mistakes, whatever you want to call them. I like to leave those things in there because they inevitably happen to everybody. And so you want to know how to fix them, right? So let's just leave them in and then work with it. Because I think sometimes we have like this perfectionist mentality and we think, oh, that's not even what I wanted. And so I don't know, I'm just going to abandon the painting. You don't want to abandon it because most paintings are salvageable. Now, have I thrown some paintings away? Yes, sir, and ma'am, I have. But, okay, I'm going to let that one dry. This one is dry, especially the brown part is dry, so we're going to come back in with my brown. I'm actually going to grab a different color of brown. I'm going to get more of a burnt sienna type of brown, and which has more of an orangish hue to it. And I'm just going to kind of fill in the white part because I don't want the white to be in the center. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the same up here. And then we'll do one final step on those center portions. Now, while those are drying, I am going to grab some green. And we're just going to, let's just start with this guy and we're going to make a stem and just kind of pull it down like this. Let's see, where do we want his stem to come from? I think up this way. You just stop right here, and it's okay to leave like white space and just have it come down like this. We'll have her come out like this. Boop. Guess what I didn't do? Let things dry. So I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to tap it on my paper towel so that it's mostly dry. And I'm just going to kind of sponge it up. Okay? You're going, oh no, she ruined it. Yeah, it feels like it sometimes, but it's going to be fine. We're going to let that completely dry while we just work on some leaves down here. All right. I'm going to add some darker green in here for a little dimension, a little interest. And you can just leave it. If you like a solid color of green, by golly, you put a solid color of green in there. But I like to have a little variation there. Okay. I'm going to let these completely dry now, and then I'm going to come back up to this one. Okay, are we sad about this? It looks sad. I know. Coming back in with my yellow. We're going to zhuzh it up here. And make it beautiful again. And also don't forget that we're adding pen detail at the end of this. So, and just adding some more yellow up in here. Okay, see, it's going to be fine. It just is. All right. I hope you appreciate, I know some people appreciate, some people it probably bothers them, but I hope that you appreciate that I leave my mistakes in because, again, they're gonna happen. And so you just have to, I want you to know that you don't have to, like I said, abandon ship and, it's, you know, what do you call it? Just start over. You don't have to start over. Okay. Loving it. And again, pen detail is going to make all the difference at the end. That's what I love about line and wash. Now, I'm going to learn from my mistake, and I'm going to let this completely dry before I add another stem. Okay, now we're going to come in with our green again and just add another stem. Okay, now maybe we can add some leaves. Whatever shape. Again, this is not, I'm not saying this is a certain type of flower, so I'm not like, oh, the leaves have to be a certain shape or in a certain spot, whatever. So let's just do that. Do one up here, kind of like behind. I'm lacking water and pigment on my brush. Because sometimes I got to get to work. So I just kind of have to do what I got to do. Working too much in a hurry. You know, someday I hope that art is my job, whatever capacity that might be. I hope it is. So we will see. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my Hooker's green and darken these up just a tad, at least in spots. I actually like how the white is showing through in certain spots. I'm going to let this one dry because adding dark is not going to work when it's still wet, but I'm going to work on the stem a little bit. Darken up at least portions of it. Same over here. All right. All right, this one is dry enough, so I'm going to just come in and add a little bit of darkness here. Okay. There we go. All right. Back, everything is dry. And I am going to use my Micron size 8, which is, for me, the biggest nib that I have. And so I'm going to use that. I'm going to move you guys over here. so that I can just do this. Now, if you haven't seen my videos before, I hold my pen up here when I'm doing this because I'm not trying to be very precise. I like to be loose. So whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe you're not comfortable going all the way up there. You can hold it maybe just like that. Again, practice. If you're doing practice with your brush, practice with your pen when you're finished. Okay. So we're just gonna go like that. And you can reshape the petals if you're like, you know, that one got too pointy. Then you can just kind of give it a little jagged edge if you'd like. And you know what? If the pen detail is not something that suits you, leave it out and just keep your beautiful painting as it was. Now, for this, I'm going to get a little bit closer because I want to just add a bunch of little dots, which you might not be able to see because of my hand right now. But I'm just going to put some dots in here for detail in the center portion. Okay. Little line down the stem. And I'm going to put some scribbly lines in the petals as well. Okay. You can also like leave a big white spot. So watch this. So I can only, maybe that's not big to you, but you know, you don't have to try to get the whole thing outlined. You can leave portions. You can also just come within. You can make the black portion smaller. Whatever, you know, just play, play, play. I'm going to add some black lines here as well. Just some fun details. Come back over here. All right, there's our stem and our final flower here. All right, what do you think? Do I need to add any more lines? Let me just take a step back here and look at it. I like it. Let me tell you what I am not super happy about is the composition. There's too much space up here. So if I were, you know, this is just practice. I'm really just playing. And so if it really bothered me, A, I could paint in a background. B, I could paint in more like foliage or flowers or whatever to make it go further up. And C, I could just cut off that top portion of the paper. I'm going to do that right now just so you can see what a difference that would be. Let's see what happens if we do that. There we go. Let's see what happens. There, I like it better. You know, I think I'm just used to working in a square, more of a square format, because that's what I've been doing in my sketchbook. I've been doing a lot in my sketchbook, by the way. I'm getting close to the end of it. Off camera, just because I'll talk about that whenever I do my sketchbook tour. Okay, I like it. What do you think? And you can sign it if you want to give it to somebody, make a card out of it, frame it. I just hope you have fun with it, whatever you do. And if you don't want to paint, I hope you had fun watching. All right, you take care, and I will see you in the next one.